Diana. Authoritative, measured tone. Good evening, America, and welcome to Washington Spotlight. I'm Diana Reynolds. Tonight, we bring you a special edition focused on a topic that cuts to the heart of modern American politics: the intersection of celebrity, influence, and power. Camera cuts to split screen showing clips of various celebrities at political events. Diana. For decades, politicians have cultivated relationships with celebrities to broaden their appeal and reach new audiences. But where is the line between genuine alliance and strategic manipulation? When does star power become a smokescreen for policy scrutiny? These questions have taken center stage following explosive comments from our first debater. Diana. Representing the progressive perspective tonight, please welcome Congresswoman Jasmine Crocket of Texas, who recently made headlines with her assertion that former President Trump's relationships with celebrities are, and I quote, entirely theatrical and designed to manipulate public perception. Applause as Crocket nods confidently. Diana. And offering the counterpoint, please welcome Robert Westfield, former communications director for the Trump administration and current senior fellow at the Conservative Policy Institute. Applause as Westfield acknowledges audience. Diana. The format tonight is straightforward. Opening statements followed by moderated discussion across 4 topic areas, concluding with final remarks. Our audience has been instructed to hold applause until the conclusion. Representative Crocket, as the initiator of this debate, please begin with your opening statement. Camera zooms in on Crocket. Jasmine. Poised, measured. Thank you, Diana, and good evening to everyone watching. I want to begin by clarifying that my purpose tonight isn't partisan attack. This isn't about Republican versus Democrat. This is about something far more fundamental: the authenticity of our political discourse. For years, we've witnessed an unprecedented merging of entertainment and politics. This isn't new, nor is it unique to any single political figure. However, what is unique about former President Trump's approach is the systematic way celebrity relationships have been leveraged to create an illusion of cultural legitimacy that often masks deeply unpopular policies. Slight camera shift. Jasmine. When Americans see their favorite musicians, athletes, or actors standing alongside a politician, it creates an emotional shortcut. If someone I admire supports this candidate, perhaps I should too. This is natural human psychology. But what if these relationships aren't what they appear? What if, instead of genuine alliances based on shared values, they are carefully orchestrated performances designed to manipulate public perception? My contention is simple. The American people deserve to know when they're watching reality versus reality TV. They deserve transparency about the transactional nature of these political celebrity relationships. Because without that transparency, our democracy suffers from an authenticity deficit that undermines informed decision-making. Diana. Thank you, Representative. Mr. Westfield, your opening statement. Robert. Polished, slightly dismissive. Thank you, Diana. What Representative Crocket has presented is a fundamentally cynical view that reveals more about her own approach to politics than it does about President Trump's relationships. Long before entering politics, Donald Trump moved in entertainment and celebrity circles as a businessman, media figure, and yes, as a celebrity himself. These connections weren't manufactured for political gain. They existed for decades as part of his natural, social, and professional ecosystem. Robert. What truly bothers Representative Crocket and many of her colleagues is that President Trump successfully connected with Americans through cultural channels that the political establishment had long ignored or disdained. He spoke directly to people through platforms and personalities they trusted, bypassing the traditional media gatekeepers. The suggestion that these relationships are merely transactional insults not only the former president, but also the many prominent individuals who have supported him based on genuine conviction. These are accomplished, independent people with their own agency and values. not puppets to be manipulated as Representative Crocket implies. This debate isn't really about celebrity relationships. It's about delegitimizing a political movement that continues to resonate with millions of Americans. And that's a disservice to our political discourse. Diana. Thank you both. Let's begin our discussion with some historical context. Representative Crocket, you've claimed to have evidence demonstrating the manufactured nature of these relationships. Please elaborate. Jasmine, authoritative shifting to presentation mode. Absolutely. To understand this pattern, we need to examine the evidence systematically. My team has conducted a detailed analysis of former President Trump's public appearances, statements, and social media interactions with celebrities over a 25-year period, spanning his pre-political and political career. Jasmine, what emerges is a remarkably consistent pattern that defies coincidence. Let me walk you through 3 revealing examples. First, examine the relationship with music mogul Raymond Carter. In 2015, Trump described Carter as barely an acquaintance and not my type of person. Yet precisely 8 weeks before the 2016 primary in South Carolina, where polling showed Trump struggling with a demographic where Carter holds significant influence, suddenly Carter was described as a dear friend for many years and appeared at multiple campaign events. Jasmine. After the election, once Carter expressed mild concerns about a policy position, he was immediately labeled overrated and a failing businessman in a series of public statements. This isn't the natural evolution of a genuine friendship. It's strategic deployment followed by discarding when no longer politically useful. Robert. Interrupting. This is incredibly selective. Diana. Firmly. Mr. Westfield, you'll have your opportunity to respond. Please continue, Representative. Jasmine. Second example, NBA star Marcus Johnson. Trump publicly criticized Johnson for years, calling his playing style boring and his business ventures failures. Yet when polling in 2018 showed Republican vulnerability with urban voters, Johnson was suddenly invited to the White House, praised as a tremendous champion and businessman, and appointed to a ceremonial commission. Screen displays side by side, quotes highlighting the contradiction. Jasmine. When Johnson later declined to appear at a rally, he was immediately attacked as ungrateful and low IQ in public statements. Again, this isn't friendship, it's transparent political utility. My third and perhaps most telling example involves actress Sofia Martinez. Documents obtained from former staff members reveal explicit coordination between the campaign and Martinez's team, outlining a relationship narrative to be presented publicly. This included manufactured anecdotes about meetings that never occurred and shared experiences that were entirely fictional. Screen displays redacted, but clearly authentic communications. Jasmine. This isn't isolated. We've documented 37 similar cases where celebrities were strategically embraced when politically advantageous and viciously attacked the moment they ceased being useful. This is systematic performance, not authentic relationship. Diana. Mr. Westfield, your response? Robert. Dismissive but controlled. What Representative Crocket has presented is a masterclass in cherry-picking and confirmation bias. By selectively highlighting certain interactions while ignoring countless others, she creates an illusion of pattern where none exists. Gestures dismissively at the screen. Robert. Of course, relationships evolve over time, especially under the intense pressures of political life. Of course, there are instances where former friendships sour, or where previous critics find common ground. This happens in everyone's life, not just politicians. What's being carefully excluded from this presentation are the numerous celebrities who have maintained consistent, long-term relationships with President Trump through political ups and downs. People like redacted names who have stood by him for decades based on genuine friendship and shared values. Jasmine. Quickly, could you name 3 such people who have criticized any of his policies publicly and remained in his good graces? Robert, momentarily flustered. I'm not going to engage in a name-dropping exercise. The point is, Jasmine, pressing. You can't name them because they don't exist. The evidence shows 100% correlation between public criticism and immediate disavowal. That's not friendship, that's utilization. Robert. Recovering. The president values loyalty, as any leader does. That doesn't make these relationships inauthentic. It makes them conditional on mutual respect, which is entirely normal. Diana. Let me press both of you on this point. Representative Crocket, couldn't these patterns simply reflect the natural human tendency to distance oneself from critics and embrace supporters? Jasmine. Thoughtful. There's a crucial difference between natural relationship evolution and strategic deployment. What the evidence shows isn't gradual change but immediate, 180-degree reversals precisely aligned with political necessity. The timing is too perfect, the patterns too consistent to be explained by normal human interaction. Diana. And Mr. Westfield, if these relationships are indeed genuine, how do you explain the documented cases where campaign materials described scripted interactions presented as spontaneous? Robert. Defensive. Every public figure prepares for appearances. That's not manipulation, it's professionalism. The fundamental relationship remains authentic, even if certain public moments are structured to communicate effectively. Diana. Let's move to the broader implications. Representative Crocket, why does this matter beyond personal relationships? Jasmine. Passionate but controlled. This matters profoundly because it distorts our political discourse in three critical ways. First, it creates an emotional shortcut around policy substance. When Americans see a beloved cultural figure embracing a candidate, it generates positive association that often bypasses critical evaluation of actual policy positions. This is particularly impactful for voters who may be less engaged with political details but highly attentive to cultural figures they admire. Screen displays polling data on celebrity influence. Jasmine. Our research shows that among voters who identify as somewhat politically engaged, celebrity endorsements can shift perception by up to 14 percentage points, enough to swing elections in closely divided districts or states. Second, it establishes a dangerous precedent where performance matters more than substance. When we reward political figures for their entertainment value and cultural affiliations rather than their governance capabilities, we get exactly what we should expect. Leaders selected for their performative abilities rather than their competence. Jasmine. Building intensity. And third, perhaps most damaging, it erodes trust in our entire system. When Americans discover that what was presented as authentic was in fact choreographed, it deepens the cynicism that already threatens civic engagement. People begin to ask, if this relationship was fake, what else might be manufactured? The damage extends far beyond any single political figure. Diana. Mr. Westfield, how do you respond to these concerns? Robert. Scoffing slightly. Representative Crocket fundamentally underestimates the American people. Voters are not naive. Consumers who can be easily manipulated by seeing their favorite basketball player at a rally. They make decisions based on their own interests, values, and assessment of candidates. Gestures confidently. Robert. What's really happening here is that political figures who have failed to connect authentically with certain communities are resentful when others succeed. For decades, Hollywood and the entertainment industry predominantly aligned with one political perspective. When President Trump disrupted that monopoly by connecting with cultural figures across different communities, it wasn't manipulation. It was expanding the conversation. Jasmine. Incredulous. So you're acknowledging these relationships are strategic rather than genuine? Robert. Defensive. That's not what I said. I'm saying the former president built authentic bridges to communities that felt ignored by traditional politics. The fact that this had electoral benefits doesn't make it insincere. Jasmine, let's be absolutely clear. I'm not against politicians having relationships with cultural figures. What I'm against is the pretense that these are deep personal friendships when they're clearly strategic deployments. The American people deserve that basic level of honesty. Diana, a follow-up question for both of you. Isn't there historical precedent for this kind of celebrity political alliance across the political spectrum? Robert, eager. Absolutely. Presidents from Kennedy to Obama leveraged their relationships with cultural figures to reach broader audiences. The only difference is that when Democrats do it, it's celebrated as bridging divides. But when Republicans do it, suddenly it's manipulation. The double standard is transparent. Jasmine, measured. There's a crucial distinction to be made. Yes, politicians across the spectrum have aligned with cultural figures. The difference is in presenting these as deep personal friendships when they're clearly transactional. And yes, this criticism applies to anyone engaging in this practice, regardless of party. But no political figure in modern history has leveraged these relationships with the same level of systematic calculation as former President Trump. Diana. Mr. Westfield, as someone who worked in the administration, did you witness the cultivation of these celebrity relationships firsthand? Robert. Professional, reflective. What I witnessed was a president who genuinely enjoyed connecting with people from all walks of life. Were these relationships sometimes beneficial politically? Of course, that's true for any political figure. But the suggestion that they were all manufactured for political gain simply doesn't align with what I observed. Slight camera adjustment. Robert. President Trump had been moving in celebrity circles for decades before entering politics. Many of these relationships predated any political ambition and were based on genuine shared interests and mutual respect. The portrayal of him as some kind of Machiavellian puppeteer manipulating cultural figures for political gain is simply inconsistent with reality. Diana. Representative Crockett, you've claimed to have insider information as well. Can you elaborate? Jasmine Wang. Direct, authoritative. My information comes from multiple sources, including former staff members who were directly involved in coordinating these celebrity appearances and relationships. These individuals became increasingly uncomfortable with the level of deception involved and have provided documentation. Takes out document folder. Jasmine. I have here communications between White House and campaign staff and the representatives for 5 different celebrities, outlining exactly what they should say, what personal anecdotes to share, anecdotes that staff members have confirmed never actually happened, and what they would receive in return. This isn't preparation, it's fabrication. Robert. Dismissive. Without seeing alleged documents, I can't comment on their authenticity or context, but coordination of messaging isn't unusual or nefarious. Jasmine. Intense. Creating. Fictional personal stories is not coordinating messaging. It's manufacturing a false narrative to manipulate voters. Let me read directly from one such communication regarding a celebrity appearance in 2018. Robert. Interrupting. These are likely taken entirely out of context. Jasmine. Continuing forcefully. Ensure reference to long-standing friendship and private conversations about policy. Suggest anecdote about Mar-a-Lago meeting in 2014. Note. We'll need to brief celebrity as this meeting did not occur. Jasmine. This isn't ambiguous. It's explicit instruction to create a fictional narrative of personal relationship where none existed. Diana. Mr. Westfield, how would you respond to this specific allegation? Robert. Clearly uncomfortable. Without seeing the complete document and its context, I can't comment on a selectively quoted excerpt. What I can say is that preparation for public appearances often includes suggested talking points and Themes. This is standard practice across politics, entertainment, and business. Jasmine. Incredulous. Suggested talking points are one thing. Fabricating meetings that never occurred is quite another. This crosses the line from preparation to deception. Robert. Defensive. Even assuming this document is authentic, which I'm not conceding, one staff member's overzealous suggestion doesn't represent an entire administration's approach. Jasmine. Calmly. This isn't isolated. I have similar documentation for dozens of appearances across 4 years. This was systematic practice, not individual overreach. Diana. Let's address the statement that initiated this debate. Representative Crocket, you said publicly that these relationships are all theater. That's a sweeping claim. Jasmine. Standing straight, voice steadily rising. And I stand by every word. When I say it's all theater, I'm not suggesting that every interaction is devoid of any genuine element. I'm saying the presentation to the American people, the public narrative of deep friendship and authentic connection, is deliberately manufactured for political effect. Jasmine. The American people are being sold a performance, not shown reality. When a musician appears at a rally and shares a personal story about their long friendship with a candidate, a story that was crafted by staff and references meetings that never occurred, that is, by definition, theater. Robert. Interrupting. This is outrageous speculation. Jasmine. Continues more forcefully. I've been in rooms where these arrangements are discussed. I've spoken with staff members who coordinated these appearances. I've seen the explicit agreements. You endorse me, I'll help with your regulatory issue. You appear at my rally, I'll ensure your project gets approved. These aren't friendships, they're business arrangements disguised as personal connections. Robert. Visibly agitated. You're making serious allegations without substantiation. Jasmine. Reaches into folder. Substantiation? How's this for substantiation? Holds up document. Jasmine. A message sent to the wrong recipient, me, that was intended for a celebrity currently appearing at Trump events. It details what they should say, what personal memories they should reference, and most tellingly, what they'll receive in return. This isn't friendship, this isn't even normal political coordination. This is theater. Dramatic pause as she places document on podium. Jasmine. Building to crescendo. And while everyone in this arrangement benefits, the politician gets credibility, the celebrity gets relevance or favors, who loses? The American people who deserve authentic leadership rather than choreographed performances. Citizens who deserve to know whether an endorsement stems from genuine conviction or negotiated exchange. Jasmine. Voice rising to full intensity. It's all theater. Every handshake, every heartfelt endorsement, every long-time friendship. It's as scripted as any Broadway show. And the American people deserve to know that they're being sold a performance rather than shown reality. Diana. Trying to maintain control. Mr. Westfield, your response? Robert. Visibly shaken but attempting recovery. This is exactly the kind of performative outburst that damages political discourse. Representative Crocket is engaging in precisely the theatrical behavior she claims to condemn. Attempts to regain composure. Robert. What we're witnessing is a calculated attempt to delegitimize genuine relationships and political alliances through insinuation and selective presentation. Without proper context and verification, these alleged documents prove nothing beyond Representative Crockett's willingness to make sensational claims for political advantage. Jasmine. Now calm, laser-focused. I've submitted all documentation to the House Ethics Committee and the Department of Justice. Proper investigation will determine their authenticity. But in the meantime, I'm calling on Americans to question what they're seeing. Jasmine. When a celebrity suddenly appears alongside a politician, ask yourself, why now? What's the angle? What's being sold? Because make no mistake, something is always being sold. The question is whether you're being told the truth about the transaction. Robert, desperate to regain control. The American people are smarter than Representative Crockett gives them credit for. They can distinguish authentic support from political theater. Jasmine, with quiet intensity. Can they? When every element is choreographed to appear authentic? When staff members create fictional meetings and relationships? When the line between reality and performance is deliberately blurred? That's not transparency, that's manipulation. Diana, let's step back and consider the broader implications of this discussion. Mr. Westfield, if Representative Crockett's allegations contain even a kernel of truth, what does that suggest about our political system? Robert, trying to pivot. Even if certain interactions are more structured than they appear, which is true across all of politics, not just for one figure, that doesn't invalidate the underlying alignment of values and interests. Politics has always involved presentation and messaging. That's not deception. It's communication strategy. Gestures expansively. Robert, what concerns me is the suggestion that voters are somehow being duped or manipulated. This fundamentally disrespects the intelligence and agency of the American people. Citizens make decisions based on a complex array of factors, not simply because they saw a basketball player at a rally. Diana, Representative Crockett, the same question to you. What are the system-wide implications? Jasmine, thoughtful, measured. This extends far beyond any single political figure. What we're witnessing is the culmination of a decades-long trend where politics has increasingly become performance rather than governance. Jasmine, when we reward political figures for their entertainment value rather than their competence, we get exactly what we should expect. A system optimized for spectacle rather than results. Celebrity relationships are just one manifestation of this broader pattern. The implications are profound. First, it distorts how candidates are selected and elevated. Second, it creates perverse incentives where performative skills matter more than governance capabilities. And third, perhaps most dangerously, it erodes the foundation of trust essential for democracy to function. Jasmine, when citizens discover that what was presented as authentic was in fact choreographed, the damage extends beyond any single relationship. People begin to ask, if this was manufactured, what else might be false? That cynicism corrodes the civic engagement democracy requires. Diana, Mr. Westfield, how would you address those concerns? Robert, defensive. What corrodes civic engagement is exactly this kind of cynical attack that suggests everything in politics is fake or manipulated. By painting all political relationships as inauthentic theater, Representative Crockett does far more damage to public trust than any structured celebrity appearance. Gestures toward Jasmine. Robert, Americans understand that public figures, including politicians, present carefully considered versions of themselves. This isn't unique to politics, it's true in every public-facing profession. The suggestion that this normal human behavior constitutes some kind of nefarious deception only fuels the cynicism Representative Crockett claims to be concerned about. Diana, we've reached our closing statements. Mr. Westfield, you're first. Robert, composed, assertive. Throughout tonight's discussion, we've heard dramatic claims and theatrical pronouncements, but precious little substantiation beyond selective anecdotes and context-free documents. What's really happening here is transparent. When political figures fail to connect authentically with certain communities, they resent those who succeed. Former President Trump built genuine relationships across cultural, entertainment, and business sectors long before entering politics. That these relationships proved beneficial in reaching new audiences isn't evidence of manipulation, it's evidence of authentic connection. straightens posture. Robert. The American people deserve more credit than Representative Crockett gives them. They're not passive consumers easily swayed by celebrity appearances. They're intelligent citizens making complex decisions based on their values, interests, and assessment of candidates. What damages our politics isn't the relationship between cultural figures and political leaders. It's the cynical suggestion that everything is false, everything is performance, nothing can be trusted. That narrative serves no one except those seeking to delegitimize their political opponents, rather than engaging with substantive issues. Diana. Thank you, Mr. Westfield. Representative Crockett, your closing statement. Jasmine. Calm, resolute. The evidence I've presented tonight isn't about delegitimizing any political figure or movement. It's about something far more fundamental: the right of citizens to know what's real and what's performance in our political discourse. Jasmine. When we present manufactured relationships as authentic connections, when we script spontaneous moments and fabricate personal histories, we aren't just stretching the truth, we're deliberately distorting reality to manipulate public perception. That isn't normal political messaging, it's systematic deception. The documents I've referenced will become public through proper channels. The investigations will proceed. But in the meantime, I implore Americans, watch closely. Question what you're seeing. Ask yourself why certain cultural figures suddenly appear at political events. Consider what's being exchanged behind the scenes. Jasmine. This isn't about partisan politics. It's about whether we want a political system based on authentic leadership or carefully crafted illusions. It's about whether we want to be citizens or audience members. Because make no mistake, the line between politics and entertainment has never been more blurred, and the consequences have never been more serious. The stakes for our democracy are too high for comfortable lies. We deserve leaders who present themselves authentically, who build genuine coalitions based on shared values rather than transactional arrangements disguised as friendship. Because in the end, what's at stake isn't just this election or the next, it's whether our political system serves the people or merely entertains them.